Alexandra Levine welcomes you to the Alexandra Levine Live Podcast. Today, we've got a packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you well informed. So, please click the subscribe button to get notified of her upcoming episodes. If you like what Alexandra talks about, then please share the Alexandra Levine Live to others. Alexandra also looks forward to your comments during this episode. Tonight's Alexandra Levine Live Podcast starts now.
Hi, I was backstage for a few minutes there. Well, hello, everyone. Hello. This is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. You are all in with me tonight. Alexandra Levine, it is great to be back. I was in Baltimore, Maryland this entire week, or actually the week before for early voting, and then I was there for the election on June 23rd. And we'll get into that later. We have some breaking news. We can tell you that in Baltimore County specifically and in other places, there was a lot of shenanigans going on at the ballot box. There is some places that are under investigation right now in terms of their electronic devices, in terms of mail-in ballots, of course. And let's get to the first slide. It's from the Edgemere page. That's a Facebook page. It's called the Edgemere page. Let's put that up there. So the Edgemere page, this wonderful woman named Karen Miller wrote, "Voting question, Edgemere Elementary School electronic voting today. Did you have the option to choose Democrat or Republican ballot? We did." So I actually happen to be at Edgemere Elementary School. Now, I have advised people, voters all over the country, not to do electronic voting because you walk in there and sometimes they flip your vote for you. But before you even go to vote, they don't ask you, which ballot would you like to choose? If you're a Republican, your ballot is automatically shown. If you're a Democrat, your ballot is automatically shown. The fact that you go and tell the election judge, I'm a Republican, and you go to the electronic voting machine and it's asking if you want to be a Democrat today or a Republican today is fraud. And it's disgusting. There was also issues at Water's Edge Community Center when I was there for early voting that independents were going in there, which according to Maryland state law, we do not have open primaries. We have closed primaries. Unaffiliated, aka independents, were going in trying to vote. And instead of the election judge saying, well, you're an independent, you can't vote, or you can vote on nonpartisan races, or you can vote a provisional, which doesn't count, by the way. One of the election judges asked the unaffiliated, well, which party would you like to vote for today? Would you like to be a Democrat today, or would you like to be a Republican today? We found out that voter did vote on a Republican ballot. Everybody. He voted for people that I know, people that I worked with, but he was registered independent. That is also fraud. And if they did that with that guy, then they did that with other unaffiliated too, and maybe other unaffiliated voted Democrat. Voter fraud across the board. Now, as you know, in the state of Maryland, they do not require photo ID. So anybody could have gone in there, an 18-year-old, 17-year-old, 16-year-old, somebody could have voted in one precinct and then voted in another. And actually, they have people from out of state that come and vote. I mean, I've heard of somebody from the state of Georgia or someone who was a Maryland resident who got a mail-in ballot sent to them in the state of Georgia. They filled it out because they liked a certain candidate, but you're not a resident of the state of Maryland. You're a resident now of the state of Georgia. So by filling that out, that's illegal. And if the Maryland State Board of Elections accepted that ballot, that is also illegal. Now, I can tell you that I personally have emailed the Baltimore County State Board of Elections woman, Rui LaRoe, and also the Maryland State Board of Elections, or the State Board of Elections, as well as the DOJ, Eric Neff, and to tell them about these irregularities. If you guys are in Maryland, we have a lot of Maryland voters and a lot of Maryland constituents in my podcast or people that watch our show. If you had any of these irregularities, experiences, you need to report it to the county that you live in, or I would go to the higher ups and report to the State Board of Elections. So, sorry, one of my colleagues says he can't hear me. So anyway, So we're experiencing, yes, I'm going to keep going. So anyway, so that's a very important thing. That's a really, really important thing. And anyway, we are doing everything we can right now on the ground in Maryland to make sure that there's no more irregularities. But because of irregularities, there's been a few lawsuits that have already been filed for these irregularities and to have free and fair elections. One of the first discrepancies was written by a man named Marshall Keeley. Let's put up that slide. Marshall Keeley, Wharton, Maryland. So he wrote this. He's a reporter for WBAL. He said voters in several Maryland counties reported confusion during Tuesday's primary election, saying electronic voting machines presented them with an option to select a party. A step election officials say should not have occurred. Let's put up the next slide. So the next slide has to do with the whatchamacallit, has to do with the article again. If the voters' accounts are accurate, multiple county election officials told WBAL TV 11 News investigates that the election judges in those precincts did not follow proper procedures and the voters should not have been given the option to choose a party on the screen, which is correct. Quote, when you go to the primary, you know what party you are and that you can only vote your party. It's usually the only ticket that comes up for you. I've never had to select my own party before. Brown told WBAL TV 11 News investigates. Election officials said the election judge should have selected the party associated with the voter's registration on the screen before allowing the voter to step up to the machine. I mean, this is going on all around. That's why, again, I'm going to tell people for the November election, do not vote electronically. Do not vote on those electronic machines. They are subject to fraud. When you fill out a paper ballot, yes, it goes through a scanner and there's some issues with the scanner too, but you have a receipt. Also, certain states work with DHS to watermark the ballots. So you'll know if it was a real ballot or a fake ballot. So this is disturbing. On top of this, we have a woman named Kate Sullivan who is actually, she's on the Central Committee. She's holding on. She's up about 60 votes before the mail-in ballot dump canvassing that's happening next week for her Central Committee. It's the best of 3 now, not the best of 4. So the Baltimore County Republican Central Committee, they had 4 people in the district. They took a vote, and now it's 3 in the district. So Kate Sullivan's holding on to her Central Committee seat, but she is the subcommittee chair for the free and fair elections. And she has written lawsuits about the elections site, about the election process. And she actually, again, went to an Anne Arundel County Circuit Court judge today, because you have to go to Anne Arundel County to report any irregularities in the elections. And again, she went in front of the judge, gave out her evidence, and we're going to bring up right now the next slide about the lawsuit. Let's bring it up. So this was Kate Sullivan's lawsuit. So a judge's ruling is pending Wednesday, that was today, on a temporary restraining order that was filed yesterday on primary election day. That means, and my family are attorneys, so I can help you with the background of this to understand the attorney lawyer lingo. So what happened is that Ms. Kate Sullivan has written some lawsuits, and she filed a lawsuit, yes, on Tuesday on election day, against the Maryland State Board of Elections, and you have to go to Annapolis or Anne Arundel County, which is Annapolis, which is the capital of Maryland, to do this, while in-person voting was underway statewide. The plaintiffs included 9 candidates for office, including Sally Taylor, as well as Kate Sullivan, and the advocacy group, which Kate Sullivan heads, called Secure the Vote, who alleged that the State Board of Elections handling of a mail-in ballot was, quote, illegal and unconstitutional. The Seek and Anne Arundel County Circuit Court judge to step in and set some guidelines for the canvassing of mail-in ballots in July. Let's put up the next slide. So the next slide continues with the article. Election officials said the election judge should have selected the party associated with the voter's registration on the screen before allowing the voter to step up to the machine. Jared Demarius, who is the Maryland State Election Administrators, investigates the matter, and he said it will be addressed. He said election judges are trained that they have to input the correct ballot style into a ballot marking device. Of course, we will talk with the election director about any incidences where election judges failed to perform their duties. But Kate Sullivan, she's focused on the machines, but she's also focused on the mail-in ballots. Because as you know, in the state of Maryland, first they sent out 500,000 ballots, and they said, well, there was a vendor error, which was BS. So then they sent out what they call another 500,000 replacement ballots. So there's 1 million mail-in ballots out. According to the State Board of Elections, they can figure out the difference between the original 500 grand and the new 500 grand ballots. If you got another mail-in ballot and you filled it out and you didn't write the word replacement on it, then it won't be counted. So what gets counted? Does their vote get counted at all? Is it a provisional ballot? Did the person decide to go in person? And then the election judge said, well, we see that you already voted mail-in. Here's a provisional, which doesn't get counted. Provisional ballots do not get counted. People think they do, but they don't. What they do is they'll make a count of how many provisional ballots this person got, but it's not included in your overall vote count. Just to let you know, that's why when somebody asks you to do a provisional ballot, you refuse. You say, no, I'm going to go in person and vote, or I have my mail-in ballot right here, I'm submitting it. And as you know, the drop boxes, you can't trust either. We saw that with 20,000 mules, how one person can drop 10 mail-in ballots in a drop box at once, unless they have special permission to do so. So this is a huge issue. Now, I can tell you the conclusion is Kate Sullivan today was waiting and waiting. Remember, it said pending investigation, and she was denied. This is not the first time she's been denied. So what happens now? I know Kate Sullivan, she's a fighter. She'll continue the fight. She's been working with the Maryland Freedom Caucus on this. But maybe there's language that needs to be changed on the lawsuit. Maybe there's more evidence that needs to be shown to a judge, because I believe that the judge knows that there's fraud. But again, as we saw in the 2020 election, you have to really prove that there was fraud. And we know that there was fraud in the 2020 election. It's coming out now that there was major fraud in the 2020 election. But we're dealing with liberal judges, and liberal judges want to see as much evidence as possible so you can't trip. So you can trip them up. If you can't trip them up, then they'll say, well, no, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. So it's insane. It's insane what's going on. I am concerned about the mail-in ballot dumps that are coming in. They're actually starting to canvass them this week, but the canvassing in July is going to be the canvassing to really look at. So if you are a candidate, I advise you to be down there and watch the canvassing live. You can watch it live. You can watch it live stream. It's open to the public to watch it live stream. It is open to the public to watch in real time, but you have to have special permission from the candidate that you worked with, or you have to get what they call a canvasser it's a challenger / witness form. And you can get that. I can hand that out to people after my podcast, because I have one. So I have special permission from my candidate, Tim Fazenmaker, to go in and actually watch them. And I can challenge if I want. Now, there's certain rules. You can't bring a cell phone. You can't take a picture. You can't make a noise. If you see something irregular, you tell the chief judge immediately, or if Rui is there, you tell her. My biggest concern, and everybody knows this, and William Newton proved it. We all know William Newton. Everything that William Newton has said about this election is correct. And he's looked into Kate Sullivan's lawsuit, and he has dissected it, and he knows what's working with it and what's not. And it's funny because the judge ruled the same as how William Newton ruled. So William Newton is completely correct when he says there is corrupt internal election personnel in our elections. Now, there's a guy who's the president of the Baltimore County Board of Elections named Will Fuhr, who is friends with one of Tim's opponents, actually a few of Tim's opponents, J.D. Urbach, Rick Metzger, and Johnny Salling. He's friends with all those guys, and he's friends with David Marks too. And I can tell you that Will Fuhr has the power, because he's got a freaking laptop right in front of him where he can manipulate the votes, manipulate the number count. He can count ballots and manipulate them. That is called corrupt internal election personnel. Myself, Bob Long, and others have emailed Rui, have emailed the DOJ, have called upon the State Board of Elections to remove Will Fuhr from the canvassing process. Now, I saw him after the election canvassing. You know, he was there at a table by himself with a laptop and a cell phone. And I swear, if we see him next week, it's going to be a real problem. And mail-in ballots can really ruin the victor. We saw that in California. We don't want a California. And they are certifying the election July 6th. But the disgusting part is that they're actually going to continue canvassing the day of the certification. That's where the real effery comes in. So you could be, maybe 100 ballots shy of winning, but because they're going to still continue canvassing mail-in ballots the day of the certification, they could magically find 500 mail-in ballots for your opponent, and then it's not certified. Even though the news has declared you victorious, even though your opponent has conceded. I mean, this stuff is scary stuff. So we're going to be looking, and I will be down there too, July 5th and 6th, to take a look at the counting of the ballots, to see what's going on, because we need to have free and fair elections. I can tell you, because I was down there the day of the election. I was down at the Board of Elections election evening. Will Fior knew I was there. Ruin knew I was there. I think it stopped them, in my opinion, from doing any shenanigans to my candidates and others. Because by me being there, and I had another observer that I brought with me, and I have attorneys behind me, including, I can't say, but family members that are attorneys that work for pretty higher up peeps. And they know that. I don't mess around. And they know I don't mess around. And the fact that Delegate Bob Long emailed them, he doesn't mess around either. So if Will Fior is trying to mess around with our elections, not only will the state handle him, but it'll go straight up to Donald Trump's DOJ, where Trump's DOJ will personally handle him. So we have a wonderful segment to talk about. Because this was a longer break, we're gonna take a short break. We're gonna get into segment 1. I'm gonna bring in a special guest with us, Daniel Eisenhart, because he's been so patient. And we're gonna connect segment 1 into segment 2, and then we'll have a break into segment 3. We'll bring in my good friend Seth Eisenberg, the Conservative Corner, and we're gonna do it that way. I know I'm kind of changing it for my producer, but it's just because we had some delays. So let's take a quick break. I just want to emphasize FoliumPX.com. FoliumPX.com is one of our sponsors. There we go. Toxic heavy metals, full body detox, free radical support, super antioxidant. This is great for detoxing. This is great before 4th of July and after 4th of July. So, I'm trying to lose weight, but I know I'm going to eat a kosher hot dog on 4th of July, and kosher hot dogs have a tremendous amount of salt, more so than a non-kosher hot dog. Take a look at the difference. Hebrew National and Shofar are so full of salt and so full of preservatives, and it's all processed meat. But you know what? It's really good on 4th of July. So after 4th of July, I'm going to be detoxing with FoliumPX.com. It's a natural supplement. We do have 4th of July specials going on. So click on that QR code. I can't even speak. And get your toxic heavy metals tonight. We'll be right back, guys, with after the break. We're bringing on Daniel Eisenhart. He's going to tell you a little bit about his experience on Election Day. Stay with us, guys. We are live. Alexandra Levine Live, America's Pulse Network. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did.
So we're going to first talk about my candidate, Tim Fazenbaker, briefly, and then we're going to bring Daniel on. Thank you guys so much for watching us. I'm Alexandra Levine Live. We are currently live on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Substack, X, Parler, TikTok, Facebook. We're on all 15 major social media outlets. Please share the link to everyone. We really appreciate Donald Willinger, my faithful follower, and many other people that are watching. I have a lot of friends of mine, they watch it, but they don't comment. Please, guys, comment. We really want to see your comments. And if you have any questions, we'll put it right up on the marquee, and we will answer them immediately. So I'll just give you guys a little hint of a background. For those of you who don't know, I have been working with a man named Tim Fazenbaker for 6.5 years. I met him at an event in Arizona when he was running for Congress, and that was in October of 2019. After that weekend, we both flew back to Baltimore, and he asked me to be his campaign manager. And I didn't know him from Adam. We were strangers, but I liked the guy. I liked his message. I liked what he had to say, and I believed in him. And I actually watched speeches that he gave in 2018 before I ever met him, and his message has been consistent from then until 2019 and even up to now. So I decided to be Tim's campaign manager in 2020, and I officially became his campaign manager in February of 2020. And at the time, there was like 8 other people running against him. Then the 8th guy dropped out, endorsed Tim, and got all of his people to endorse Tim and vote for Tim. And Tim did a really good job. This was the first time that Tim ever ran for federal office. And he was honest. He's like, I really don't know what I'm doing. Like, I've never fundraised. I'm afraid to ask people for money. Like, you're Jewish. Like, I have a big Jewish community in my district, because he was running for CD2, which is now CD7. It flipped. So CD2 has Pikesville, Parksville, Owings Mills, Reisterstown. We call it Jewtown, Jewville. So he's like, I need to break through to the Jewish community, but I need like a Jew to do it. So he's like, can you be my Jew and do it? So I was like, sure. So we went to synagogues together. We met all the Jewish people. I can wholeheartedly thank our good friend George Faber. George Faber knows every Jewish person in the DMV area and beyond. He knows Jews in Ohio. He knows Jews everywhere. And George Faber to this day has been a great person to let us know when Jewish events are happening and who to connect with. And George always like, Alexandra, come here. Tim, come here. Let me introduce you to this Jew. Let me introduce you to that Jew. So let me introduce you to this person. Or Jewish person. And it's just a beautiful experience, the loyalty that we've had, but also to see Mr. Eisenberg grow from then until now. And, I was only his campaign manager for a very short time, but we both worked so hard. And this was during the pandemic, by the way. So we couldn't do any events outside. We did internet rallies. We could only have like events with 10 people. Like, it was really depressing for like 3 or 4 months. But with all that debacle and all that shenanigan and the Hogan lockdowns, we actually came in a strong second place. He only beat Johnny Ray Sowling by 800 votes. 800 votes, that's it. And Johnny Ray Sowling was a incumbent sitting state senator. I mean, he is now, but he was the incumbent sitting state senator, and Tim beat him, only lost by 800 votes. Tim beat a sitting state delegate, our good friend Rick Impalaria. And he beat a guy that used to work at the White House named Jim Simpson, who's a great friend of ours too. And from that moment on, Tim made a name for himself, and he kept going and he kept fighting. And he ran for MD GOP chairman because the people wanted him to. He ran for state delegate in 2022 because the people wanted him to. Tim does not wake up and say, I think I'm just going to run for this today, or I'm going to do this for me. No, he does it for the people. If the people want him to run, then they want him to run. So after the 2024 election, Tim was trying to figure out, what he wanted to do. He was a member of the Central Committee. He won Central Committee in 2022. This is a 4-year term. So, and he got 18% of the vote. He got the most out of the 8 other people that were running for him for Central Committee in his district. Now the districts have changed. It's a whole new ballgame. But, we were trying to think, what can, should I run for state delegate again? I said, well, it's really hard to run against 3 incumbents, and we get the Essex area, and, Essex is like Rick Metzger's base and Saling's base, and it's kind of tough. So when the new councilmatic was announced, because it was 7 seats and they were expanding it to 9, the people actually voted to expand the county council from 7 to 9. We looked at where the district was going to be, and Tim is in District 9, and that is Sparrows Point, Edgemere, Dundalk, and a sliver of Rosedale, no Essex. Now, Rosedale, I would say, is like the more liberal of the 3-4 areas, but it's just a sliver of Rosedale. There's not that many voters in Rosedale. And actually, the Rosedale voters loved Tim. So when we found out that we weren't going to have Essex, and it was literally Tim's base, because Tim lives in Sparrows Point, we're like, oh my God, this is great. Like, this is what we're committed to. We're gonna fight this district. We're gonna win this district. These are my peeps. That's what Tim would say. These are my people. And Tim's voters are extremely loyal to him. And for people that don't know this, Tim is the HOA president of where he lives in Sparrows Point. And I can tell you, it is such a joy to campaign for someone in their neighborhood where all your neighbors love you. Because Johnny Oshevsky lives in Miller's Island, and his neighbors hate him. They're all Republican, and Johnny is a Democrat. They hate him. but all of Tim's neighbors love him. He's got such loyalty. The people know that he has been screwed over the years by the establishment RINOs. And the establishment tried to push a no-name RINO to beat Tim. I mean, I didn't know this guy, J.D. Urbach, from anything. I didn't know him at all. And they pushed this guy. And it's interesting because we knew that he was going to run against him before he even announced he was going to be a candidate, because his name kept coming up. So J.D. Urbach, on his own accord, not us, we didn't Photoshop or Autoshop or whatever, or fix any of these photos, but J.D. Urbach had photos of himself shaking hands with Governor Wes Moore, who's a hardcore Democrat, Senator Chris Van Hollen, who's an anti-Semite who loves illegals. As you know, he used taxpayer dollars to try to bring back Kilmore Obrego Garcia. He also had pictures with establishment people like Rick Metzger and Johnny Ray Salling. And he had a picture with the Congressman Johnny Oshevsky, who's a hardcore socialist Democrat. And also, Mr. J.D. Urbach wrote several posts on his Twitter feed stating how much he loved Pete Buttigieg and how he wanted Pete Buttigieg as the next president. This was before the 2024 election and beyond. He also came out in support of Liz Cheney. He also came out in support of Mark Milley. He also came out in support of Rex Tillerson, all these anti-Trump people. So, you had J.D. Urbach, who's running in a very hardcore MAGA conservative America First district, bashing Trump, hating on Pete Hegseth, and he thinks he's going to win this district and beat Tim. Well, I can tell you that Tim and I were literally thrown the kitchen sink, Tim more so than I, but I got a lot of the brunt of it too from these stupid idiot haters that have been shitting on Tim for almost 10 years. Now, I can tell you, I have never seen such vitriol in a election in my life, and I've worked on many. The only other person I know that has gotten hit by the establishment and the Democrats in this is a man named Donald Trump, and he ended up winning the whole effing thing. And this was the line that I thought about this, and Tim actually said it a couple days before the election, and I agree with this. And Tim said, "They're not coming for me, they're coming for you, and I'm just standing in the way." And that's the truth, because the establishment has been coming for their constituents for years, trying to get them to play along. We actually have video. I don't have it tonight, but we have video of elected officials that are attacking their constituents. Not only attacking them to the point of threatening them, but attacking them to the point of giving them peace orders, silencing them, having police show up at their house randomly, threatening them, lying about them, to the point where they could lose their livelihood, their children, their husband, their wife. I mean, these are these are elected official Republicans in the state of Maryland. They're just RINOs, Republicans in name only. So let me just say that Tuesday night was a beautiful night for Mr. Faze Maker and for myself. That man worked so damn hard, and he won because of the people. And we thank the people for shutting out the noise of the RINO establishment. We thank the people for believing in Tim and sticking by him and the loyalty that they have given him for years. We thank you. And we are on our way to winning. And Tim is on his way to being your new county councilman and a very MAGA. I'm crying because it's when you do elections with somebody, the whole thing is very emotional, because Tim and I, especially Tim, have worked so hard, and he got beaten up to a pulp, but he took the shots and he took the blows for you guys, for his constituents, because he loves his community and his family so much. Sorry, now I gotta be strong now. Whew. But it's the truth, and it's just such a beautiful thing to see. And he almost, well, I don't want to give it away, but he got emotional. He got emotional because he called his wife right away and his kids, and of course they were so happy for him, because it's been a long journey. It's been 10 years of the establishment Republicans punching on him and censoring him from the Central Committee and lying about him and talking crap about him. And some people who don't even live in his district are still shitting on him and saying they're going to help his opponent, who's a very lovely woman. She's a Black Democrat. She's very sweet. But instead of all Republicans coming together, They don't. They don't want to come together. They don't. And it's very, very sad. It's very sad. But Tuesday night was a beautiful night for Mr. Fazenmaker. Let's put up the first slide. Let's put up the numbers that came in for him. So, oh, hey, Seth. Oh, we brought you up. Hey. So thank you, because Seth will make me stop crying, because Seth will curse and it'll make me feel good. So but anyway, so these were the final numbers. This is without the double mail-in ballot canvassing. So they canvassed some ballots June 1st and 2nd. That's why you see 38, 26, 24, 31. So they're now starting to canvass the second bounce. So, of course, Tim was very concerned, and so am I, that that second dump of mail-in ballots could screw his lead. But because Mr. Fazenmaker has such a strong commanding lead against J.D. Urbach, they said there's no way that the mail-in ballots will make a difference, because the mail-in ballots are really for county executive or governor, not really for this district so much. So if you see Tim Fazenmaker's at the top, so for early voting, he got 347 votes. For election day, he got almost 1,000 votes, 989. That's amazing. And then 38 was the June 1st and 2nd ballot dump. The NR is provisional ballots, which of course we know they don't count. So altogether, Mr. Fazenmaker got a total of 1,374 votes, which put him up to 41%, which was amazing. Russ No Tax Mirable was, I honestly, just looking at that name, I honestly think that the voters looked at Tim and Russ, and then they stopped looking at everybody else. Because when you see Russ No Tax Mirable, like, I would vote for him too, you know, like, just because it's no tax, you know. I didn't even know you could put that, like, Russ No Farting Mirable, you know, really, or Tim Only Farts Fazenmaker, you know. So funny. So anyway, so, you know, it actually, in my opinion, looking at the numbers, it looks like Russ Mirable, by getting in there, actually helped Tim, because he took almost 22% away from, it could have been J.D. Urbach. So J.D. Urbach was the RINO. And as you see, he only got 26% of the vote. But look at that gap between Tim and J.D. So J.D. actually conceded Tuesday night. So once you concede, that's it. He not only conceded on the phone with Tim, but he also wrote a concession on whatchamacallit, on Facebook. Let's put up the second slide. So this is J.D. Urbach's concession speech. So I'm going to read it. And Seth, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I want to read it. I want you to comment, Seth, afterwards. I want you to let me know if you think this is like a Melba toast, an uplifting concession speech. And I want to have my viewers, Donald Willinger and such, I want you to comment as well. So J.D. Urbach wrote, "Thank you to my family, friends, volunteers, and supporters. I'm grateful to everyone who offered prayers and words of encouragement over these past 6 months, and especially to those who honored me with their vote in today's Republican primary. While we did not come out on top in today's election, this campaign was about standing up and offering voters the choice of a vision for our community, rooted in experience, commitment, and integrity. I'm proud of our effort and of the conversations we had and the relationships we built. Campaigns may end on election day, but the work of strengthening our communities never does. I choose to remain optimistic about our future and committed to the values that inspired the effort from the very beginning." So Seth, my question to you is, what do you think about that concession speech? Is that uplifting? Is that like, congratulations, Tim, I support you? What do you think, in your opinion?
This JD guy is the short guy with glasses, right?
Yep, he's a dork.
Heavy set dude. Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing sincere in that whole speech at all. And when people start mentioning, integrity, honor, and this, that means they don't have any. Mm-hmm. So they got to keep saying it so people start to think they do. This guy was running his mouth about Tim and everybody else, wasn't he?
Yep, he was.
Yeah, it's what this is I'm not admitting I lost. I'm not admitting Tim beat me. I'm just saying we gave it a good try. Mm-hmm. And now I'll try again.
Now, my question to you, Seth, is, now that, Tim is a Republican nominee for this district, do you think that JD's voters will come over to Tim's side and they'll vote for him and support him?
I would like to think so. I mean, but I think Tim is going to face the same thing that unfortunately Dan Cox is facing. If they didn't vote for him in the primary, I'm not voting for him. I'm going to take my toys and go home.
Right.
People get way, way, way too personally involved with their candidate. Mm-hmm. If they lose, they lose. You voted for them. Now it's time to go to the next step. I mean, That's why I think everybody, no matter what race you're in, If you lose, you should come out and support the nominee. Like, hey, Mr. Eisenberg ran a very good campaign. We just came up short. I would like to think everybody who supports me is going to support Tim because I'm going to as well. Really, that's all they got to do. Doesn't have to be some big, long 10-page speech. Just, hey, this is who we have to support. Let's get behind him. But nobody listens. And that's
I went in the back. I went in the background. Okay.
I see you.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I went in the background, but it's good. So anyway, there you go. Oh, there you go. Dan. Yeah, I know. I was like
popping up.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you a question. Bring on Dan, and I'm glad. Dan, can you hear me?
I can.
Good.
Sweet, and you sound great.
Thank you.
I just want to say for the record, I'll be honest, it got very personal on the campaign trail, especially with JD's family. So JD's, I think, oldest sister attacked me personally. I was literally talking to a voter literally about Fort Howard. So Fort Howard was literally on the ballot. That's one of the reasons why Tim won, because Tim has been very strong on Fort Howard. And this is why Daniel Eisenhart actually did very good for his first run and won the Central Committee, because Fort Howard is for our veterans. You know this, Seth's a veteran. And freaking Westmore wants to put Section 8 housing. And honestly, I believe that he wants to harvest it for illegals and criminals and so forth. And he wants to destroy this beautiful historic landmark. And Tim and I and Daniel and Kim Stansberry and Frank Niehoff and Bob Long and others, we've been reaching out to the president. We've been reaching out to Pete Hegseth and the federal government to make Fort Howard a memorial national park, to declare it that, so that state cannot come in and throw in their Section 8 housing crap. And I believe, in my opinion, it will happen. I believe that if we keep pushing for it, it will happen. But I can tell you, like I said, this got pretty nasty. So I was talking to a voter about Fort Howard, and JD's sister, just said to the voter, who had just had a stroke, by the way, whatever that girl's saying, she's a liar. She's a liar. Ah! Like, that's what she was. It was awful. It was so horrific. It was so bad. And then Salling was there, and he was calling us all liars and horrible things. Then there was a woman during early voting named Mary Taylor, who also did a Fort Howard type of event that was ridiculous. She had just lost her case, actually, and Daniel can talk about that a little bit with our friend, Mr. Fitzpatrick. So she had just lost because Mr. Fitzpatrick's charges were completely dropped, and I'll let Daniel get into that in a minute. So she literally came to Waters Edge Community Center to heckle me. And she told me that she was literally there to come heckle me. And she said, I have JD Urbach, and Daniel was there as a witness. She said, I literally have JD Urbach's father here to heckle me too. So I said to myself, I'm not going to deal with this woman all day. So I actually went up to where the Board of Elections employee was, who's a all of a sudden you come to drama, like just stop. And then, of course, Mary Taylor lied and said that we were heckling her and that we were causing the drama, and we weren't doing anything wrong. And then Mary Taylor lied and said that I had been taking pictures of her and posting it all over Baltimore County. Well, let me tell you, I'm a very busy woman. For those who don't know me, or for those who do know me, who the hell has the time to do that? And I can tell you that if I took a picture of that woman, my camera would break. So I don't have that time. The woman is an ugly, horrible woman. And of course, she is working with opposition to, push people to vote for Tim's opponent, which is actually backfiring in her face, because Tim's opponent, who we like, is a very nice woman. And she told Tim, oh, no. Oh, I was doing so well. Well, I guess I'll be off for a while. Oh, my gosh. That's fine. Maybe, you know what? Maybe there's a way I can put a picture of myself and just talk. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. It was doing very well. And then,
don't worry about it. Just keep going, because last time we did this,
keep going. I know. I may have some computer backup person coming in a second. Anyway, I'll just keep talking. Everybody knows what I look like anyway. According to Cliff, I'm chubby and ugly. So now you don't have to see my face, Cliff. So that's Cliff O'Connell, everybody. So anyway, our the woman who's running against Tim, she said, I'm not going to have these people involved in my campaign. She said, I don't want any negativity. I don't want anybody invading my campaign to hurt you. So, and that's a Democrat. It's a moderate Democrat. So we are so happy. We are so happy that Tim is in there. But, I want to get to you, Daniel, on this. I want you to tell people about your experience. with Mary Taylor and what happened with the Fort Howard situation, Fitzpatrick. But also before that, Damon shared, can we pull up, do we have, let's see, do we have Daniel's numbers? No, that's the Central Committee. Well, anyway, so that's fine. So these were Daniel and Tim's numbers for the Central Committee. So the Central Committee, as you know, Tim was a member, and so Tim resigned from the Central Committee to focus on his campaign, which was a very wise thing to do. And then this was a Thursday night, and then Monday, June 8th in the evening, the Central Committee decided to have a meeting to censure Mr. Fazenbaker. I'm sorry, say again?
Fallon did so.
Yeah, Salling did so. So he implemented this. Salling also, I found out, brought a reporter from WYPR named John Lee to be present. Also, we found out that the reporter knew everything that happened during executive session, which is against the bylaws. It is against the bylaws for any Central Committee member, including an alternate, to discuss what happened during executive session. Now, we don't know the person that breached the bylaw, but we will find out. I can tell you as of today, several conservative people from the Baltimore County Republican Central Committee are currently resigning because of the crap that they pulled on Mr. Fazenbaker. So Mr. Fazenbaker was a private citizen at the time of his censure. And actually the MDGOP under Nicole Harris is looking into if the censure was legal, because if it was illegal, we got some major problems. So what did Mr. Fazenbaker and Daniel Eisenhart do? They fought back, and they fought hard, and they got back on the Central Committee. So Daniel actually made a joke that he said, maybe I'll beat you, Tim, in the Central Committee votes.
Came pretty close.
And he came close. So these are the final without the mail-in ballots. So Daniel Eisenhart got 517 during early voting, 1,317 on election day, 64 of the mail-in ballot dumped from the June 1st to 2nd canvassing. So he came in at almost 24%. Tim Fazenbaker got 551 early voting, 1,423 on election day, 77 with the mail-in ballot, and 2,051 votes to take him to almost 26%. Now, with the Central Committee, they went from 4 members per district to 3 members per district. So unfortunately, this crazy woman named Deb Sullivan, who's broken bylaws multiple times, she got reelected. With
You
only,
also
look at
donated
it.
to the Democrats as well.
Yeah, she gave to the Democrats, but look at it. She goes 18.83%. So Daniel, sorry, I talked so long. So Daniel, my question to you is, now that you're on the Central Committee, you're back on the Central Committee, you'll be sworn in November.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you'll be sworn in November with Tim. Tell us how that journey was on election day, or actually early voting on election day, the lengths that you had to go through to get to where you are today, and your vision for the party. I know that was a lot.
Well, thank you for those questions. I know we have the Central Committee stuff up and those numbers, but I didn't really campaign at all for the Central Committee. I just put myself up there because that was my initial, that's what I was going to run for initially, to continue my Central Committee role and get reelected. But I also got nominated by 2 people on the Central Committee, I guess right around Christmas time, to run for Senate, to go after that Fallon fellow that we've been talking about, who isn't very well liked. And so I accepted that nomination after talking to April Babcock. She lost a son. I have 2 children, 10 and 12. She lost a son very young. I think he was like 14, to drugs, to fentanyl, something laced with fentanyl. And when Tim introduced me at his campaign fundraiser as the next state senator, I had already told him I wasn't going to run. So I thought it was kind of like a joke. And I even explained it to the people there that, I would look forward to working for the Central Committee, and then even potentially helping Tim or Kim Stansberry out. But the response that I got from Tim's patrons there was enormous. And what they said was that Sallen, who I barely knew, wasn't answering their calls and wasn't coming to the table. Now, I got involved in politics because the current councilman, who Tim may very well take place of, Todd Crandall, he's my neighbor. And I don't have anything bad to say about the guy. He's been a great neighbor. But when I would ask him to help me with some of the things that were going on my own street, he was just not very helpful. So I took it upon myself to get a home that had like 100 people living there, got their rental license removed, Now there's a nice family that lives there. My 10-year-old cuts the guy's grass. And on the other side of me, a gentleman had started a appliance repair business, and it was a code violation. It was a mess. And I got that addressed. And now the neighbors were saying, you should run for county council. But it was quite naive. I was just dipping my toes in the central committee, and Tim Fazenbaker, who I was in 7th grade with, nice guy, kind of took me under his wing, and he's been mentoring me. And he showed me the ropes and said, look, I realize you want to work on this, you want to be the councilman, but I want to do the councilman, and I've been doing this a while. If you come under my wing, I'll teach you what you need to know about everything. And he brought me up to speed quite rapidly. And so I went after Salen I felt like there was nobody really coming to Annapolis in this district, for this district, besides Bob Long, that was representing us the way that I feel like the legislators should. If you start looking at Saling's voting history, he votes with the Democrats all the time. Well, 47% of the time, not all the time. There's only 2 other senators that have a more leftist, more liberal voting history than him, and they vote 50% of the time, 2 other people. And so, I noticed that, and I started saying, well, you know what, I will accept this nomination because I want my Republican representative to go down there and say no to taxes for green initiatives and empower and those things. And for, not that I don't think we should have SNAP benefits, but I just don't feel like, as a conservative Republican, that I want to vote with the left to give them more. I feel like we need to get them some jobs and stuff. So not that all of his leftist voting was wrong. Some of it you have to do. I hear it all the time. Well, you can't go down there and get anything for your community if you don't vote with the left. Well, I just think that's silly because if he's the 3rd worst left-leaning, that means there's 47 senators. That means 43 other senators have voted left, less than him and more conservative. So I guess my point is I don't want to raise taxes and tax bikes and things like that, and just so that we can get a park in Essex.
Right.
I came to this to try and clean up Back River and restore school safety. And not one time in 12 years has Senator Sound ever proposed a bill to clean up or protect the waterways here in District 6.
No, he lied. He said, Back River is great. Everything's good. He and his butt buddy, Rick Metzger, go down there and lie. There we go. So thank you, Damon Shrod. So these were the final numbers before the mail-in ballots of Daniel Eisenhart. Let me tell you something. Daniel really, he gave Saling a run for his money. Because guess what? And I think about the parallels of this. So Tim Fazenbaker lost to Saling in the primary for Congress by only 800 votes. Daniel Eisenhart lost to Senator Saling by only 805 votes. This is history. This guy, Johnny Ray Saling, is an incumbent state senator. He's got a guy, Daniel Eisenhart, who's never run for anything in his life, who's this up-and-coming young guy, and he gives him a run for his money. 42% against 60% is not a shellacking. Daniel, what you did was so inspirational and so uplifting, and you should be so proud of yourself. And that's why I am happy that you're in the Central Committee. I know they're all breaking apart and everybody's leaving, and they have to because the RINOS are just awful. But if we just have that one conservative man, you in there, just that one person who could stick it out for 4 years, I'm telling you, you will come back with vengeance. You will definitely beat Saling. Hopefully Saling won't run again in 4 years because there's investigation that he doesn't live in his district. And actually, we found breaking news. His wife Charity actually confirmed on a Facebook thread that he doesn't live in his district, that he's been living comfortably in their beautiful home in Timonium, which, Daniel, is that a part of Mr. Saling's district?
No, Saling's wife confirmed with me months ago. I screenshotted it. They live in Timonium. He had a house in Essex. It's well known he had a house that he didn't live in Essex. He stayed there periodically to circumvent the law. And then he sold that house in March. And just 2 weeks prior, I'm throwing some numbers. It was on a room for rent that came up in Dundalk, that came up about a month or so on Zillow before he posted his home for sale. just in March. He took a room for rent in January. Room for rent came on Zillow, and it stayed on there about 10 days, and then he accepted, and then it's not on there anymore. And so it's safe to assume that that's the room that he rents, because that's the address that he put on the failed petition that he tried to have a peace order put against me when he accused me of stalking him and harassing him and making violent threats.
Are you listening to this stuff? This is sick stuff. This is real.
Yes, Alan went to the courts and he lied under oath. He signed by, under oath. Okay.
Yep.
He asked the
judge only a perjury
to silence me because he said I was stalking him, harassing him, and coming to his home and threatened to go at his throat. He wrote this down.
Yep, he wrote it all down.
He doesn't have one photo of me.
And let me tell you something. Daniel Eisenhart is such a sweetheart. And I said this to JD Urbach during early voting. I said, do you understand what Sailing did? He wrote such salacious lies that if anybody really looked at that, they could actually take Daniel's children away from him. Child Protective Services could come and take his children away.
They're not going to do that.
That's how, which, hopefully, God willing, that'll never happen in the world.
Look, my 12-year-old just got inducted into the National Junior Honor Society. All right, I work with children for 17 years in children's dentistry. I'm board certified, I'm state licensed, okay? And never once have I been in front of the Dental Board of Examiners. And there's a reason for that. Because in my line of work, you have to work at a very high level of precision, high professionalism, no matter how wrong the patient or the parent of the patient are, or how mean or rude they are when they call, you have to be nice and put a big smile on your face. That's because that's the way I work. And so, no judge is going to believe that with no pictures and no text messages, no video, no email, no phone call record from me that I did those things. So that's why I'm suing him. And I'll see him in August. He has a court date, August 28th.
Oh, we'll all be there. Well, America's Pulse Network will be there to cover it. But switching to you, Seth. So, you're hearing this salacious story. So Mr. Salling put up a piece, or tried to push a peace order to Daniel Eisenhart, who's his primary opponent.
And two others.
I'm sorry?
And
twice.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say two others. Hold on. So Daniel Eisenhart, so that Daniel and Salling couldn't be in the same proximity together. He tried to throw one to Mr. Fazenmaker, which of course didn't work. And our good friend Dawn, and Dawn wasn't even a candidate or an elected official. Dawn is a private citizen, which is his constituent.
Political activist.
Yeah, who's a political activist, but she's his constituent. She's a private citizen. So Sailing is trying to hurt a private citizen, another private citizen, his opponent, and then Tim Fazenmaker, who is a private citizen too, and his constituent. So all three of his constituents, Mr. Salling is trying to throw peace orders. Seth, my question, because you're in Frederick County, have you ever heard of this in Frederick County? Like, does this happen in your county?
No, but I mean, they do just as many underhanded things in Frederick County, just differently. They're not as open about it as they are, I guess, this guy Sailing is. I mean, that's ridiculous. And people voted for this man.
Yeah, they voted for him. Yeah, they voted for him. And I'll tell you why. So Dundalk and Sparrows Point Edgemere is not Sailing's strength. That's why Daniel did so well in those areas. It's what we call the Essex crowd. So Essex is like Rick Metzger and Sailing's base. So if Sailing and Metzger did not have Essex, I believe that Daniel would have beat him. It's Essex. That's what it is. And we call it the Essex crowd. Essex is actually more Rhino-y over there. It's more Democrat over there. But where Daniel Eisenhart lives and where Tim lives, it's hardcore MAGA, hardcore America first. So when we get the final tallies and we'll break down the precincts, we'll see where Daniel Eisenhart really shined through the precincts and and where Sailing shined through the precincts. Well, but I mean, this is his time. But I can tell you, people are really looking into the fact that he does not live in his district. In my opinion, he should be removed from office. He really should. And there's a guy, Justin Holliday, who's running against him. I can tell you, he's a very nice guy. He's more of a moderate Democrat. He came to our rally for Fort Howard.
Oh, Chinese got her again.
So I encourage Republicans to vote for Mr. Holliday in November. I really do. So this is another breaking story. Go ahead.
Well, let's hold on. Listen. Let's keep this together. People are not aware that there are active investigations going on right now. Active investigations.
We can't discuss some of them. Remember,
there are multiple investigations going on right now.
Right, but we can't discuss them. Obviously, we can't discuss them. But yeah, it's true.
He just might not be there in November.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the biggest issue with that dude isn't so much where he lives, but the bullshit he's
perjury.
Yeah,
the
stuff like
misuse of
Right,
office.
yeah, the stuff
that
that he
seems-
lied about.
Outgoing filing.
that seems more important to me. I mean, so after you lied where you live, okay, we can maybe work past that, but you're using the court as a weapon. That's
Yeah, he tried to silence me. He tried to prevent me from going to the debate, from going to the RNC dinner, from going to the forums, the town halls, and then at the polling centers where he was there with me the whole time. And I'm gonna say this one more time: they did give you a hard time. I was there for a week straight, every day, 12 hours just about, for early voting, and I was hanging out with Arkia Wade and her father, and I was hanging out with Mr. Urbach and JD's sister, JD's niece. I'm a funny guy. I like to have fun. I'm not all for the drama, although my opponent is. I want to get along with everybody. And I was joking. We had a great time with all the people there. And Salen went up to the Victory Villa and told other candidates that Tim and I were starting drama, and there was a bunch of drama down there.
No, this is what Salen does. He's a known liar. He's a known liar. There's actually there's another report that came out. I can't get into it. But Mr. Salen again attacked one of his constituents, my friend Adam Reuter, who is part of the media, and of course, it's all over Facebook. But we can't. I can't get into details of it. But it shows Mr. Salen attacking his constituent Adam Reuter. His wife actually attacked Bob Long's daughter.
what, like
Called her fat, which was awful.
Verbally, while being videotaped.
Yeah, it's all on video. That part's not on video, but the other stuff is. And then there was a black woman who's also Salen's constituent who's trying to calm the situation and say, hey, like, we're adults here. Like, let's not do this. There's children here. And Salen is heckling her and attacking her and telling her to shut up. It's all on video. So I'm like, that's why I'm telling you, there's
you guys voted for. Look, for 4 years, I said I was going to clean up Back River and restore the smell and try and go after the wastewater treatment center. So you guys just tell me over the next couple of years if Salen goes above and beyond like I would have done, and I still plan to do when I'm given a chance to get the smelling better. I was out on Back River today, and it stinks out there.
It does. It really
horribly.
does.
It's dangerous. There's dead fish floating up and down, and I good luck seeing if Salen's going to propose.
So Dan, I don't mean to move you along. It's just because we have another segment to cover too.
Of course, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Because my show can go to an hour and a half. That's fine. And you guys are great. I love you guys.
I can chat it up. I have a lot.
No, I was okay. But this is important. So, because I want to shift it to Seth, because we need to get Seth in here and have him speak.
Tell me about yourself.
so Damon shared. Pull up the meme again. Not the meme. The slide again with the mail-in ballots, please. So this is no, not that. The mail-in ballots. You're right.
We can talk about it more.
So this is a big thing. So breaking: the U.S. Postal Service will not be delivering any 2026 mail-in ballots to states that don't comply with President Trump's voter fraud prevention executive order, per U.S. Postal Master General. This is what I voted for. So my question to you, Seth, is: I mean, we know with the mail-in ballot situation in Maryland, does this have to do with Maryland elections?
I'm sure that that played a lot into it. I mean, what, 500,000?
No, it's 1 million now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know what happened to how it was when I was growing up. One day to vote, and if you couldn't be there, you were in the hospital, you're in the military or something else, then you could use an absentee ballot, and that was it. You didn't count ballots 6 months or 6 weeks later. It was that day, and the next day you knew who won. And it worked for decades. That worked, but all of a sudden it doesn't work now. Now we can't do it like that. And this is what you get. 1 million ballots set out for no reason. It's a joke. So I'm glad they're doing that. I wish they would just go back to how it was. One day voting, that's it. If you can't be there, it must not be that important to you.
I agree.
10 minutes. It doesn't take all day to vote. It takes 10, 15 minutes. Do it on your lunch break.
I agree. And as you know, Daniel, right, it started, I think, today, was the canvassing of what they call the second mail-in ballot dump, which are supposed to be replacement ballots. That is going on until July 6th. July 6th is certification day. So they're still going to be finding dumps of mail-in ballots for certain people that they want in. And, 1,500 mail-in ballots showed up for that person and that person alone. And that screws the good person. What say you about that really quick?
Well, I only need 900 of them to go my way, and then I'll win.
Yeah, you never know.
Well, listen, I was out there for a week straight, 12 hours a day, and it looked like a waste of money. I think it's like $1.3 million a day per, or for all of them, maybe. It's a lot of money that we're spending. That's taxpayer money. And it's I feel like we got to get the Democrats out of Maryland. The leadership, that is, not Democrats themselves, but like Westmore, this is their doing. They love this kind of stuff. I would think that's probably because they're figuring out ways to steal money from us. If there's more money being invested in it, they can figure out ways to skim some of the money. I know those are like egregious allegations, but that's just how I feel it is. I feel like that there's fraud going on in more ways than just the voter fraud perspective. I feel like they're skimming some money off of it. They're figuring out ways to pocket the money themselves.
So let's go to the next slide, Mr. Sharon. So this I want to show you guys. So again, we're celebrating 250 years of America. We're protecting Fort Howard. This is our good friend Frank Niehoff who put this together. So July 4th, please come. Daniel Eisenhart will be there, Tim Faze, many others at the Dundalk Independence Day Parade. I have walked that parade. That is a 2.5-mile parade. I've done it in high heels, and I didn't get one blister. And this is going to be a great parade. I'm going to be there. It's going to be awesome. And we want you guys to come and celebrate America and protect Fort Howard. And that's the main thing that's on the ballot is protecting Fort Howard. If J.D. Urbach would have won the primary, oh my God, you would have had all the developers behind it because J.D. Urbach got all this developer money. And Himmelrich is the main guy who's pushing for the mail-in ballots. He's not pushing it, but he's the one that's going to be developing them. And he doesn't give a crap because it's money in his pocket. These developers do not care about you, the American people. They don't have morals. They don't have values. It's just money in their pocket. And then the next parade, which is awesome, and it's a shorter walk, is the Northport Edgemere Parade, July 24th. Again, Tim and I will be there. Mr. Eisenhart will be there with others. This will be a great parade for the fire department. Bob Long will be there. His daughter, Kristen, actually works for the fire department. So this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We have one more segment. This has been great. Please watch this, guys. Alexandra Levine Live. Before that, my other sponsor, rncstore.com/ALL. Again, I'm blanking on the whole thing because my brain's going a mile a minute. 100% natural supplements to help prevent cancer, to help if you have cancer. We have July 4th specials all over the place. People have actually been ordering from him. John Richardson's a great guy. So go to rncstore.com/ALL. We'll be right back after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Thank you guys for coming back. I'm sorry I didn't have enough time to refresh my camera. Sorry about the camera stuff. Oh, sorry, somebody's talking in another language I don't understand. Sorry. It's all good. I learned multiple different languages. But anyway, so, oh my God, that threw me off. I just start again. Hello, spasiba. Harasho in Russian means good. Harasho, everyone, harasho. For my Russian people that are watching. I do have actually a lot of Russian and Ukrainian people from Ohio and Florida that are watching. So harasho. But anyway, so going back to segment 3 now, staying with elections, I'm here with Daniel Eisenhart, who is the incoming Central Committee member. I'm already going to call you Central Committee member. In my mind, you've already been sworn in. And, Seth has done so much. Seth, I know you've run for office. I think you ran for school board. Is that correct?
Yep. Yes, I did.
And you even talked about running for Frederick, I think, County Executive. You talked about.
Yeah, if nobody else had put in, I would have done it just to make her spend money.
Oh no, she's a moron.
Yeah, she's.
I just want to say on another note, Montgomery County, I should say, is getting the most liberal, hardcore socialist, pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, free Palestine county executive. It can't get any worse, and that's what's happening. Oh, it's disgusting, and that's what's his name is Will Jawando, and he believes in a $25 an hour minimum wage. I mean, the guy is a piece of crap. But this is going to be the next county executive of Montgomery County. And I have a residence there, and my brother-in-law is up there, and it's awful what's going to happen in Montgomery County. Because Mark Elrich, you would think he was so bad, but no, the socialists have to take it a step further, as we're seeing in New York. And I'm going to pivot to you about that, Seth. What do you think about these pro-Hamas communist people that won their primaries in New York under Mondami and Bernie Sanders? What say you?
Well, what we're seeing is a trend in the Democrat Party it's slowly turning to the Communist Party. And they can try to deny it all they want. They can argue it. But like you said, look at New York. No Democrats were elected. Socialists were elected who ran under the Democrat Party. And apparently the Democrats are out with that because they didn't push them out and say, no, we're not associated with this. This isn't us. So they're on board. And it's slowly happening across the country. Montgomery County, like you just said, New York is inundated with social communists now. It's happening everywhere slowly. If people don't wake up, it's going to be everywhere. And when I say people, I mean the central committees like you're going to be on. The central committee where I'm at has been useless for decades. They're more worried about parties and getting the newspaper. They're not worried about pushing forward conservative candidates. They want to get along and be liked. And you can't fight for a country if you're more worried about being invited to parties, or you're going to be able to get interviewed in the newspaper or things like that, like we do in Frederick County. I mean, one of the people elected to the Frederick County Board of or Central Committee has openly and actively worked against Dan Cox in his past run for governor, and he was elected to the Central Committee. I don't have any faith in
Wait, who is this person?
Heath Barnes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I have no faith in the MDGOP.
Oh, no, he ran for Congress. He didn't run for governor. He ran for Congress.
No, when he ran for governor last time and got the nomination, he worked against it.
Oh, we're talking about Dan Cox. Okay, yeah.
I have no faith in the MDGOP in Maryland. None. I mean, Saling guy who could do whatever he wants to do, and no one's doing anything about it.
And Deb Sullivan, too. So there's been reports sent to the MDGOP about Deb Sullivan, about Bradley Lang, all these people that really did break the bylaws. But they censured Tim Fazenbaker, who was a private citizen at the time.
What I would like to see happen is people like who we got here today, and Tim and other people get on these central committees, burn them down, destroy them, and then rebuild them with real conservatives.
I agree, and that's what's actually happening right now. Is that I agree with you 100%. And guess what, Daniel? You're going to be there. You're going to be the one leader to start it, because you're going to be there for 4 years, and you're going to be building. And guess what? We're going to get Henry Ziskowski in there too, because when Tim wins, guess what, Daniel? You have a very big job, because when Tim wins county council, he will be stepping. He has to step down under the bylaws. And guess what, Daniel? You and Deb Sullivan get to choose who the next person will be to fill. And I would tell you and implore you and advise you to pick Henry Ziskowski, and you will have
choice.
I'm sorry, say again.
Fantastic choice.
Yeah, Henry Ziskowski it'll be too conservative against Deb Sullivan, is a real Democrat, and she should be removed anyway. But you guys will fight, and you and Henry will be there for 4 years, rebuilding the Central Committee, rebuilding the party. He'll run for delegate again. You'll run for Senate again. Maybe both you and him will run for delegate again, depending on if two delegates retire or whatnot. We'll see. But you guys are going to be a powerhouse, Daniel. You and Henry together will be a true powerhouse, because it only takes one person to be a leader. That was Tim. You're second. You're also a leader, Daniel. Henry Ziskowski is a leader in Baltimore County. You guys are all leaders, and you guys now have the momentum. What you and Tim did, Daniel, you literally gave a shellacking to the RINO establishment in one night. In one night. You should be so proud. You didn't have party endorsements. The party did not endorse you, which was great. You didn't have
special interest donations either. I didn't take
you didn't get any special interest, lobbyists, any type of BS people.
None of that. No PACs or anything.
No PACs. So now everybody's coming to you. They're going to come to Tim. They're going to try to kiss his ring. And guess what? We're going to make them pay.
My phone is ringing now. People were curious and asking me things about how did I do that? People were curious.
Yeah. And Daniel, you made a name for yourself. You're going to continue to make a name for yourself. And that's how it starts. And sometimes it takes 4 to 6 years to make a name for yourself.
People are saying I should be proud. I'll tell you what, I understand.
You should be very proud.
I understand that. But listen, I am really hurt. I feel bad because the people are going to be, again, another 4 years without good leadership. And I was out on
Except
the back.
for Tim.
Yeah. Well, like from the state.
Right, from the state. Yeah.
Well, we got Bob down there, but
we have Bob. Bob is the only good one.
And I just worry that we're not going to get those bills proposed to get the Back River cleaned up. Like that's what I wanted to do, and it's another.
And the bridge. The bridge.
So I don't have time to be proud about how well I did. I'm more concerned about my constituents still getting. Leadership.
But guess what, Daniel? You have constituents now. Those constituents that voted for you. I mean, they're your constituents. You're an elected official. You were elected by them.
True.
So guess what? You listen to their concerns. You do the will of the people. What did those constituents vote for you? They voted for you to fix Fort Howard. They voted for you to fix Back River. They voted for you to start with the work of the bridge. They voted for the infrastructure. They voted for lower taxes in your area. They voted for vocational schools for the children. So when the children graduate from those vocational schools, they have a job. They voted for so many things. And now you, as their leader, someone who was elected by them, now you can do the work. You can do the work for them. And that's what we love about you. You have more power, Daniel, than you ever thought. And it doesn't matter what rhino comes after you or this asshole or that prick, I'm going to curse, because you have the power now. You have the power. You're in there.
Yeah, and but 2,000 people did think that I should be in that seat. And a lot of people have asked, before and now, even after, and I see the comments. Oh, are the people who lose, are they still going to fight for Fort Howard? Are they still going to fight for Back River? And I just want everybody that's watching this program to know that I'm not going anywhere. Like you said, I'm going to be on the Central Committee for 4 years. I'm going to learn a lot more. I'm going to come back even stronger the next time. Yep. I did come out. I did kind of parachute in to some extent. And I learned a lot from this experience, and I'm going to continue to fight for the community, just like I said I would.
Yeah, I agree. So before we go, I'm just going to put up a couple races. I want you guys' opinions. So the first one, of course, was the gubernatorial race of who won. Dan Cox won again against Governor Wes Moore. As Seth said, there was a lot of people that were shitting on Dan Cox. Dan Cox did not get help from the party. Nope. Dan Cox did not get establishment people endorsing him. Actually, his former lieutenant governor nominee, Jordan Schiffinelli, endorsed Ed Hale Jr. So Ed Hale Sr., rebellion. Yeah. So Ed Hale was a Democrat. He was running as a Democrat originally to try to primary out Wes Moore. And then he figured, well, I definitely can't beat Wes Moore as a Democrat. So I think I'm just going to switch parties and run as a Republican. And he still lost. He still lost because you don't do that. And people were comparing him to Donald Trump and all these people that switch parties. Well, Donald Trump didn't switch parties to run for president. Donald Trump has been a Republican for a long time. He was a Republican as a private citizen. So people are like stupid for saying this. And there's some hardcore conservatives, and Seth, you and I know these people, I will not say their names, but there were some hardcore ass conservatives that were ride and die for Dan Cox and ride and die for Trump. And they all freaking endorsed Ed Hale, and they stood by Ed Hale. And when I saw all these endorsements of the Rhino establishment coming for Ed Hale and all these people endorsing Ed Hale to the point where, and Daniel, you were with me, Fox 45 and Edgemere Elementary were coming out for Ed Hale. And WBFF were coming out. They were doing pieces on Ed Hale because they automatically assumed that Ed Hale was going to win. And Dan Cox did better than expected. Fred, what say you about this? Or not Fred, sorry, Seth. What say you about this? Because he's in your county. He's in your district.
I know Dan, and I'm not going to go say like we're personal friends, but I know Dan. I've talked to him several times. He's a very intelligent person. He definitely has a direction he wants to take things. And I think he has that presence to be able to do that. The only thing I can see that's going to hold him back are the morons in the Republican Party in Maryland. The rhinos. He lost last time. He's going to lose this time. Well, if you don't vote for him, you're right. He's going to lose. So, put on your big boy pants, wipe the tears away that your guy didn't win, and get behind Dan Cox, or you're going to get more again. And if you don't vote for Dan Cox because you think he's going to lose and you vote for Moore or whatever, you have no right to complain anymore. Mm-hmm. And this is very important for everybody who watches this now and later. Pay close attention to your central committees and see what they do. If your Republican Central Committee isn't loud and proud about Dan Cox, you need to vote them all out immediately. Yeah. There's no question. If they're not like my, like I said before, my Central Committee, when Dan got nominated last time, went behind him and worked against him because their girl Kelly Schultz didn't get the nomination. So they worked actively against Dan Cox.
Yep.
I'm going to watch them very closely this time. If they do it again, I will start calling people out and make sure they don't get reelected. He is the nominee.
Yep.
It's either him or Moore. That's it. So
I agree.
Pull your big boy pants on and vote for Dan Cox.
Yes.
So Seth, do you agree that we should all come together and get behind Dan Cox and say, hey, regardless if he won or lost, if we like him or not, he is our Republican nominee for governor. We need to get behind him.
I'll break it down even further than that. If you don't like paying almost three-quarters for almost half of what you make into taxes, if you don't want to pay a paint can tax, what else they got now? Other taxes that are coming out, hitting small businesses for uninsured insurance premiums are going up. Everything is going up. If you're okay with that and don't mind throwing your money away, then by all means, support more. If you want to keep a little bit more of your money in your pocket, be able to support your family, start working things down, getting taxes lowered to a reasonable level, then you go with Dan Cox. It doesn't matter if you like him or not. Look at your paycheck and go like, hey, I'm satisfied with working 50, 60 hours a week and all these taxes coming out. Or this is bullshit. I'm busting my ass and they're bleeding me dry. Something's got to change. It's really that simple. Give more money away or keep more money. It's the only way to look at this. And if you want to keep more money, then you have to vote Republican. You have to vote Dan Cox.
I was just very shocked at people who I thought, were so hardcore Trump. And actually this lady who was from Talbot County, she called me and she said, everyone on my Central Committee, we're all Trump people. You can't be on our Central Committee if you don't support Donald Trump, but I support Ed Hale Jr. or Ed Hale Sr. I keep saying Jr. Ed Hale Sr. And I'm like, okay, you support Donald Trump. You only want people that are Trump supporters in your Central Committee, yet you're endorsing a Democrat. And of course, Ed Hale seduced everyone with the story. Well, Donald Trump and I are very good friends. I actually like Trump. The reason I registered Democrat is because I wouldn't have been the successful businessman in Maryland if I was a Republican. That is the biggest bullshit lie, and I'm going to tell you why. My family were all Republicans, and they were very successful business people in the Washington, D.C. area. My grandparents owned a very successful restaurant for 35 years. They were Republican. My mother's parents and my father's parents were Republicans, and they owned a liquor store for 50 years in D.C. Very successful. Both my mother's side and my father's side were very successful blue-collar business owners. And they were Republican. So I don't want to hear this BS. And they were millionaires and multimillionaires, to be honest with you. They died very, very wealthy. And it's all BS because that line was so ridiculous. And he seduced a lot of women with that line. He tried to seduce me with it. He hit on me when we talked on the phone. He told me he had a 27-year-old side piece down in Florida. He asked me where in Florida I was because he didn't want me meeting his side piece, which was disgusting. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is real stuff. And, he told me he loves Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump to his house. He told me he hated Larry Hogan. But yet on the campaign trail, he actually didn't mention Donald Trump at all. He attacked Donald Trump, actually. Then he said if he lost, he would not support the primary person. So he lost, and he's not supporting Dan Cox. Well, so it's really sick.
When it comes to Hale, the last thing I'll say is that the famous saying applies to him and the people supported him. There's one born every minute.
Exactly.
And he found those people that were bored. He got the suckers all in line, and they danced to his tune.
So let's put up the next slide. We have like two other races that we're going to talk about. So Daniel, I don't know if you know these two people.
Yes, I know Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie's a good guy.
Oh, perfect. So good. So Elfreth is the incumbent congresswoman, of course. She's a hardcore leftist, liberal. And Bernie Flowers, he served our nation. He's Republican. He actually worked under Obama. And he exposed a lot of what Obama did under that administration. That's why he left, because he saw the effery of the federal government. Yep. So, I think I can't remember. I know Bernie Flowers, I think he ran 2 years ago. I don't know if he won the primary 2 years ago. Do you remember, Seth? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Okay. So everyone I've talked to really likes Bernie Flowers. Yep. My friend Scott Willens loves Bernie Flowers. We know Scott. And again, whether you like Bernie Flowers or not, he is the Republican nominee. What say you about this, Daniel Eisenhart?
Well, I really, really, really support that. We got more Black Republicans coming to office. Um, that means something to me because my wife is Black and we're conservative, and so you don't see a lot of Black faces in the Republican Party, and I think the left say diversity. They use those kind of words in their DEI pitch and stuff. And I too think that we should be diverse in our party. And Bernie is a great guy. Obviously, he served his country, and if you ever talk to him, he's like a man. He's like he's a somebody you feel comfortable leaving your kids around, and if he was the coach of the soccer team, you'd feel like you were going to win. I don't know, so
No,
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead, Seth. You can comment also.
No, I agree with everything you said. Bernie's another leader. He's a smart guy. He was a retired colonel from the Air Force. I've spoken to him a couple of times. He's come when I was the vice president of the club. He'd come by and speak every once in a while. Great guy. Definitely, you could tell he's in the military because when he enters the room, he has that presence. There's that command presence. And if you haven't been in the military, it might not make sense to you, but certain people walk into a room, they don't have to say anything. You just kind of perk up.
But he does. He does. He doesn't. He talks to you. He engages with you. He doesn't make you feel like he's your even though he's probably way outranking me and my wife. He doesn't make you feel that way.
No,
I work with doctors.
Exactly.
Sometimes doctors will have like a bit of a God complex. So somebody with a high rank like him, they can talk down and you can sense it. He doesn't have that. So it's a gift, I'd say, to not let it up your head.
I agree. So last but not least, this is another race that actually kind of surprised me.
Yeah,
Robin Ficker. So I personally like Robin Ficker. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Robin Ficker has run for everything. He's run for governor, U.S. senator, Congress. The guy's run for everything. I think this is the second go around with Congress. But this guy, Chris Burnett, was everywhere. And he served our nation. His wife is Black also. And he went to every forum. He was on major media networks. He was on Fox News. He was on OANN. Jennifer Charlton was working hardcore with him. I seriously thought that Chris Burnett was going to pull it out of the park. I don't know. Maybe it was people up in Western Maryland that really, I don't know. Maybe they didn't cater to Chris Burnett. I know Chris Burnett was supportive of illegals who had been here for a long time. Let's say they've been here 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. And he believed that they should stay with the system, that we shouldn't just throw them away. Well, the thing is, we have to look into their background. We have to yes, you've been here for 25 years. That's great. But, you've been here for 25 years living off the system. What have you contributed to society? When you come here and you come to this country illegally, that is breaking the law. It is not, do not pesco, do not collect, it's not, okay, yeah, just live here off the system for 40 years. No, they're going to look into you. So I think that really kind of turned people, because Western Maryland, and Seth knows this, is a hardcore Republican area. Yeah. My only issue with this is Robin Ficker does have money, but April Delaney has a heck a lot more money. She's a billionaire. Her husband's a billionaire. But it's funny because the guy who ran against April Delaney was David Trone, and he's a billionaire. And I knew that he was going to lose to her. I thought that was a stupid, dumb move that he did. But it was funny to see the billionaires run against each other and spend their own money. Now, I believe that Robin Ficker will make April Delaney spend her own money because Robin Ficker has the money to do campaign ads and mailers. And Robin Ficker doesn't really do fundraisers. He goes to fundraisers. He does have lots of signs. But I'll be honest, I don't want to say he didn't campaign as hard, but I felt it was different this time than when he ran for the U.S. Senate. What say you, Seth?
I think what really hurt him was the third person that ran with Michelle Rocha.
Mariella Rocha.
She ran last time and got spanked. She ran this time and got spanked, but she split the vote and took votes away from both. And I think that's what hurt Burnett. And I'm not taking anything away from Ficker. That man's a workhorse. He's all over. He doesn't rest, and I respect that. And again, he's another smart guy. He's not a dummy. He's not walking around going, "Well, duh, I don't know what we're going to do." And he doesn't talk cliches. He has points, and he wants to do things. But I think that's what put him over was her running and splitting the vote between him and Burnett. I was shocked though. I was like, wow, that's.
And I'll be honest with you. So I stepped away from the gubernatorial race for a little bit, but there were some disturbing things, and Seth, about it, and Daniel knows about it. Some anti-Semitic comments that came out.
Yes.
that I just can't stand behind. And, I did speak to Dan. I didn't speak to him personally, but I messaged him about it. After he won the primary, I told him congratulations, but I said, you need to clean up your son and your children's rhetoric, their anti-Semitic rhetoric, because that's going to show up. I also told Dan to not even bring up the Israel-Iran war in his campaign, because it's going to open up a floodgate, and then the anti-Semitism will come out from his children, to be honest with you. His eldest, I don't even call him a child. He's an adult. He's a 27-year-old guy who just got married. He wrote to me personally and said, death to all Jews. Jews are scum. Jews are pedophiles. And I'm sorry, like that really hurt me. That really hurt a lot. And I really hope that, in my opinion, I think his children should step away from the campaign, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to happen, because I think his eldest daughter, Patience, is his campaign manager again. But if they don't clean up that rhetoric, because there's a lot of Jewish voters in Maryland, and they actually, a lot of them did vote Republican in 2024 because of October 7th and because it was a presidential year. And I know a lot of Black Democrats have voted Republican, but they don't like the anti-Semitism either. So my only thing for Dan is, be very careful what comes out of your children's mouths, because it is, in a way, a reflection of you and what you teach in the home. Because Dan is very close with his family. I just said his daughter's his campaign manager. He does homeschool the majority of his kids.
Yep.
He has his last child has Down syndrome. Yep. So he has a disabled child. And I applaud him. I applaud him for taking that on, because it's very hard to take on. And I applaud Valerie too. And she looks great for having 10 kids. I mean, you would never know. Her body is great. So I want her doctor, actually. I think her doctor is God, but if it's not God, I want to know her real doctor. But anyway, I was supportive of John Myrick, because he currently serves on military. His wife serves on military. His wife is actually, she gets rid of all the illegals. I mean, that's her job. And I just thought he was a very outstanding guy, and very smart on the issues. And he campaigned for 2 years. Him and Brenda both did.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked at their numbers. I was shocked
at their numbers too.
Heartbroken.
Yeah. I was very heartbroken. And I know some people have issues with Brenda. When she was a state delegate, they don't really like some things that she signed. But I can tell you, Brenda's a very sincere woman, and she got effed over by the Rhino establishment, by Kathy Szeliga, by Jason Buckle. These people turned on her. She realized that they turned on her. She deeply regrets voting for what she voted for, because she knows, it's been haunting her ever since she did it. But at the end of the day, she's a special education teacher. I respect her for that. And she and Myrick did not speak there was no anti-Semitic rhetoric that came out of their mouths or the children's mouths.
And I'll tell you this, me and Brenda went head to head a couple of years ago when head to head. I was all over. And she came to one of the club's things at the park, and we talked. And she didn't go, I'm sorry I signed it. I didn't say, I'm sorry I said anything. But she listened to what I had to say. She told me what she had to say. And everything made sense. I've always respected her. She didn't back down. She didn't change her tune, and I respected that. I mean, we both agreed to disagree, and that's fine. Yeah, I respected her. I didn't like the way she got treated after that. I thought it was kind of ridiculous. And I was shocked by those numbers. I was expecting that to be between her and Dan.
Me too.
I was like, this is going to be tight.
Me too. I was hoping that they would beat A.L.L, to be honest with you, and it would be up against
I never thought he had a chance anyway. Never.
Who, A.L.L? You never thought he had a chance?
Never.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think so either, but it was tough for me because, every other voter I talked to, they said, I'm voting for A.L.L, I'm voting for A.L.L, I'm voting for A.L.L. And then there was, obviously there were some voters that Daniel and I worked with, and Tim, to get them to vote for John Myrick. So when we look at the numbers of Baltimore County, the thing is that A.L.L lives in Baltimore County, but I know when we look at certain precincts, John Myrick and Brenda did a lot better than they could have. And that was because of the support of the three of us. But, in Baltimore County, anyway.
Yep. I probably put 200 or 300 signs up of his too.
Oh yeah. And John Myrick supported Fort Howard. I want to say a message to John Myrick, and also
he came down. He was the only one that came down for a Fort Howard protest.
He was there, and I really want John Myrick to stand. I don't want him to go away. I would love him to be there for us with the Fort Howard, stand shoulder to shoulder with us. And help us with this, and his wife. I don't want him to just go off into the night.
He should stay involved.
I want him to stay involved, and I'd be honored to have him continue to work with us. And Rob Carson likes him too. So that was great. And, you know, like, and I agree with you, Seth. Like, I was shocked that the numbers were so low. There might have been a lot of cheating going on by A.L.L to make his numbers so low. I thought about that too. I also just want to say a shout out, and then we're running very over, to our good friend, Kimberly Stansberry. Kimberly Stansberry is one of the nicest women I've ever met in my life. Because of Tim, I met her. She loves the Jewish community. She loves the Christian community. I briefly met her husband. I wish I would have known him longer. Her husband died exactly 4 years ago, 4 months after the 2022 primary, where she first ran for county executive, and she came in a strong second place under Pat McDonough. If Pat McDonough didn't get in, she probably wouldn't have won the primary. Henry actually ran against her that time. He didn't do it maliciously, but he had a calling from God and he decided to run. But anyway, he died 4 months after the primary. He served our nation. He died of Agent Orange. And as she was cleaning her attic last year, she looked at the signs that her husband had put together, and she said, I have to do this again. I have to do this for Bill. And I wholeheartedly believe that she won her primary. I'm looking at the numbers. Her opponent was never around. Her opponent was working with Nino Maggione, and Kelly Rogers is a convicted felon. Those are real stories about the guy. But Pat Dyer ends up getting 9,000 votes, higher than Itzi Potoka. So there was a lot of cheating with mail-in ballots with Pat Dyer.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. But no, but we saw, no, I mean, we have canvassers right now currently, and they're saying that mail-in ballots are coming in 2-1 for Pat Dyer, which is insane.
Well,
because
we have to get behind Pat Dyer, though, because he could win. And I want Pat Dyer in there. He's a nice guy. Obviously, Kim's what I liked her better, but we want Pat before we want
Julian Jones.
Yeah, so like as much as we don't like Dan, well, not that we don't like him. So as much as there's some stuff about Dan that he could polish up a bit. It's the lesson.
No, hold on. Let me clear up I never said I didn't like Dan. I don't like the anti-Semitic rhetoric coming out of his children's mouth. That's all.
I agree.
But like I said,
lesser of two evils between him and Moore.
The thing is, like, when I met Pat Dyer for the first time, he looked like he didn't even want the job. He didn't know what he was doing. And all I can say is that I'm very disappointed and shocked that the people didn't vote for Kim, because we were campaigning hard for her. Mm-hmm. We have to see where the votes were coming from. Because everyone that I talked to, they didn't even know who Kim's opponent was. They didn't even know Kim had an opponent. And Kim went to all the forums. She went to Democrat forums. She went to Republican forums. What bothers me the most is that the Republican women of Baltimore County, their job is to get Republican women over the hump, to get them to win primaries and win. They have not endorsed a Republican woman, I think, since like Ellen Sowerby. Like how long has that been? And they're the biggest club in Baltimore County. They're the biggest, and they have the biggest group of women. But and Kim has been there for them. She's paid for their events. She's spoken at their events, and they do not get behind her. They didn't get behind her. And Kim was an alternate in the Central Committee. She's not going to be an alternate anymore after that. I mean, the Central Committee got rid of her too, and they didn't support her. And Kim went to every single Central Committee meeting. She didn't have to, but she was there. And that's what bothers me, is that my challenge is to Pat Dyer. Are you going to be there? Are you really going to campaign? Are you really going to be there? Or are you just going to cruise with Kelly Rogers and Nino Maggione? That's my challenge for Mr. Pat Dyer. Honestly, I do not see him winning. I see Julian Jones taking it. It's not that I'm being negative against Pat. It's just I'm looking at the numbers. But we'll see. I mean, Daniel, you have a point too. He is the Republican nominee. As Republicans, we should get behind him, but it's hard for me to get behind someone who didn't do the work. That's my point.
Yeah, he's got a huge network because he's in the business, and I think he's tied in with a couple groups like schools and stuff like.
He works for a financial planning firm. Like I think he works like a Merrill Lynch type. That's what he does.
And then he's dialed in with Nino, and Nino has a large following as well. So they had a good slate. It is questionable that Kelly Rogers fell and what they're all up to. You get you scratching your head. So I don't know what they're doing, but they're connected together. They were able to swing that the way they did.
Yeah.
So I mean, who you get connected with, it will go
Yeah.
a long way. But do you really want to be connected with somebody like Kelly Rogers?
No.
I don't know. I don't know him well enough to know, but he's,
But I can tell you that Kim is not done. I can also tell you that when Tim wins, she will be working for us, so she will have a job. And we just, like I said, we love Kim. Our prayers go out to her. Her sister's not doing well right now. We just found out her sister has stage 4 cancer, breast cancer, and in other places it's metastasized. So of course we pray for Kim's sister. Kim has a husband. I mean, Kim's sister has a husband and children, and of course they're distraught about it. I do want to applaud Kim's nephew, who I know really well. He's a Democrat, but he's not really a Democrat. He's like a Democrat in name only. He didn't campaign at all, and he ran for county sheriff. And oh my God, he came in second place in the primary, and he didn't really do anything. And it just goes to show that the Democrats will vote for anybody. But I said to myself, we should all switch parties and become a Democrat for a day, and don't campaign and don't do anything. But yeah, I mean, her nephew didn't do anything, didn't put up signs, didn't raise money, and he came in second place in that primary.
That's insane.
So it's insane. It was just, it was. I mean, hey, kudos to him. Yeah, kudos to him. But anyway, we applaud all of our Republican nominees. I agree with you, Dana. We need to get behind all of our Republican nominees. I can tell you that the Baltimore County Central Committee is now calling Tim, and they're, trying to bring peace, and they're trying to say, we're so sorry. Well, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, because they backed the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Of course. So how can you say I'm sorry, like after you censured him and you tried to tarnish his reputation, his good name? And I just want to say for the record that JD's the day before the election put out a really shitty mailer. It was an anti-Tim mailer. Half of it was blurry, by the way. But on the bottom, it said that the entire Republican Party rejects Tim Fazenbaker. Not just Baltimore County, the entire Republican Party. That's what pissed people off, because his neighbors were like, wait a minute. Tim's neighbors were like, I don't reject Tim, and I'm part of the Republican Party. This neighbor, Daniel's his neighbor. He doesn't reject him. That whole mailer completely backfired in JD's way. Nobody wanted to see that. Nobody wanted to see vitriol. And I want to say thank you to JD for putting that mailer out, because that really helped Tim win. Thank you so much.
No, I think it helped, but Tim didn't win. He won. JD lost. He lost for a reason. He's a nice guy. He's well-spoken, and he's got a great resume. But he lost because he took that money from those builders, and he can deny it. And but he did. He took donations from those people, those groups. At least it looks like, from the lawyers and the builders down there at Fort Howard. So people knew. They knew, and they know, and they felt at least that he was getting in bed with those builders down there. And that's why people didn't come to vote for him, because they know he wasn't being the honest person. He tried to say he was the conservative group, and he lined himself with Salen and them, and people don't like them. So,
and Deb Sullivan, all those people.
Deb Sullivan tried to, they got rid of Tim. They got rid of myself just recently. And they put in Deb's slate, so they tried to run against Tim and I on the Central Committee, and we mopped them up.
You mopped him up. Both you and Tim mopped him up.
Yeah.
And actually, Kenneth just called Tim to try to smooth things over.
Yeah, well, I like Ken. I've only met him a few times.
Ken's a nice guy. I didn't meet him. And
okay.
I met Bud. Bud's actually a nice guy too.
But it comes from law enforcement. So generally, most law enforcement people are good guys. But when they're bad guys, they're really good bad guys. Yep. I don't know enough about him yet. I just know that he's hooked up with the wrong people, and they tried to censor us, and they're doing it the wrong way. They think it's the right way. They think Tim's doing it the wrong way. All Tim is trying to do is expose people for being he's exposing corruption.
Correct.
People say, "Oh, you're not supposed to."
And I just want to say for the record, I just want to say for the record, because being Tim's political consultant, he didn't bash anybody. We actually did not bash anybody. What we did is the candidate had the pictures of him with Democrats. These were candidates' pictures. We did not Photoshop them. We did not add stuff to it. We put out stuff that J.D. Urbach personally wrote or he took pictures with. We did not Photoshop him with Wes Moore. We did not Photoshop him with Chris Van Hollen. Those were real pictures. And it wasn't just a picture of him, it was standing so far away from him. I mean, there's literally a picture of JD leaning into Wes Moore, like so happy to be enthralled with him. And people
he justifies it. He
justifies it. Exactly.
He thinks it's perfectly justifiable to be in an embrace like that with the enemy.
Right.
And because he was getting money for the school or something.
Exactly.
He tried to say that we lied about the photos. I asked him directly on while we were all being recorded during the Central Committee meeting about those photos, because I wanted to know for myself, because I'm not going to post photos that aren't real.
Yep.
But he did say that he adores Fauci and that he thought he should be.
He loves Fauci, Mark Milley, and that he loves Pete Buttigieg. The Pete Buttigieg one really screwed him over. And he said, I did not write that. He said, that was a fabrication. I said, sir, it says on your X account, you were too cheap to pay for the blue check mark. But it says JD Urbach, and it says, it was a picture of Pete Buttigieg with his like gay husband and a child. There's twin children. I would love Pete Buttigieg to be the president of the States. Yeah, I mean,
somebody started doctoring the Pete Buttigieg photos, and when that happened, the Central Committee kind of said there were 6 photos total.
Correct.
JD agreed that he did all 5 except the one, the Pete Buttigieg, and so. Right. Because that the one he disagreed with, and it did appear doctored, all the people look how bad Tim is for doctoring a photo, which I don't necessarily know or believe that he did that.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
So
sorry, I have to cut you off a little bit because it's already like 10:15. But I just want to say on that note that oh my God, I think I blanked what I was going to say. No, I mean, so I want to say on that note. So it wasn't a fabrication. The guy did support Pete Buttigieg. And I mean, I don't need an apology from these people, but JD Urbach, he's not going to be on the Central Committee come November, so the guy doesn't have a job. So the guy is done. And let me tell you something. He was put on the Central Committee purposely to hurt Tim. His his very I don't want to say lovely, his very insane, disgusting alternate, Bobby Ho. She will not be an alternate after November. Her goal was to get in there and to hurt Tim too. And they lost. And good prevailed over evil. Trust, Lady Justice always prevails. And Daniel, you prevailed. Tim prevailed. We all prevailed. Because and Seth, in a way, you prevailed too. Because and Dan Cox prevailed. Yep. Because honesty and truth will always prevail. Will always prevail. And I mean, it's written in the Bible. It's written in the Old Testament. It's written in the New Testament. It's written in the Bible. And we are good, honest people. And I want to thank the voters in Baltimore County for seeing the light. I want to thank the voters of Dundalk, Edgemere, Rosedale, parts of Essex. And Sparrows Point. And for Tim and for Daniel, I want to thank you guys for not getting sucked into the bullshit. And I want to thank you guys for backing Tim, and let's get him in November, and let's get him to the county council. Before we leave again, we must continue to support Mr. Fazemaker, because as you know, he needs, we need more money to continue mailers and flags and everything. So he is now your Republican nominee for Baltimore County Council District number 9. Go to timfazenbaker.com. He's been getting donations left and right. Again, people are coming to him saying, hey, where can I donate to? timfazenbaker.com. And of course, we have other primary nominees on our network that we support. The second one is Justin Murphy, our really good friend. We love him. He won his primary in New Jersey. He's running for the United States Senate against Cory Booker. Cory Booker is a piece of crap. Everybody can't stand him. We love Justin Murphy. Oh my God, he's so intelligent and he's so awesome. And we got to donate to him, guys. We got to get him over there. And every single Republican needs to support Justin Murphy in the state of New Jersey. And also, we have our friend, the Hammer, Damon Galdo, running for CD1, Congressional District CD1. He won his primary unopposed. Now we got to get him to the general. We got to turn New Jersey red, because now it's blue again.
He's got him and Justin have a virtual fundraiser tomorrow night, I believe.
Oh, okay. Do we, Damon, Sherry, do we have a flyer for that? Maybe we don't. Or maybe we have a commercial, I'm not sure. But yeah, if any fundraisers, we will keep you up to par. Don't forget the Jersey Shore. There it is. Da-da! Virtual fundraiser. Oh, it's Friday. Shabbat Shalom. So on Shabbat, 8 p.m., Friday, June 26th, live streamed on every social media platform. As you know, the Jersey Shore podcast is always live every Monday night from 8 to 9 p.m. And we also have the Pulse every Wednesday from 8 to 9. I heard, oh my God, I'm so jealous. I haven't been on the Pulse in forever. I heard that last night's Pulse was like off the charts, killer, stellar. You guys kicked ass. Thank you, Seth, for coming in and helping us out. We love you, and you're awesome.
You're welcome.
And you can always find Mr. Eisenberg on the Pulse every Wednesday night from 8 to 9:30. Sometimes you guys go for 2 hours, like we did tonight. But no, I mean, we love you, Seth. And I think, Seth, aren't you on once a month with us with the Conservative Corner?
This Sunday I'll be on the Conservative Corner at 7 p.m.
Awesome. At 7 to
8. Sorry, 8. It's 8.
Oh, it's 8. Is it an hour and a half? Or?
Yes, hour and a half.
Oh, awesome. So come celebrate pre 4th of July with Mr. Eisenberg. You can follow
that's
Seth.
right.
Yeah. You can follow Seth at the Conservative Corner on Facebook, X, at Conserve Seth. Is that correct?
Conservative Seth.
Awesome. And then, Daniel, where can our followers and viewers find you?
Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm not sure where you're going to find me now. You're going to find me out on Back River on my boat. I'm taking a break because I didn't win against Allen, obviously. But I'm on Facebook, and I think you have my QR code. But can I just say this? I want to thank you, Alexandra, for during my campaign. You were instrumental in helping me, and your candidate Tim Fazenbaker as well was very helpful and you're just a good person. And I'm thankful, so thankful that you were there for me and you answered questions and stuff, and you brought me on your show. You were the first person to interview me months ago, and it's a lot I've grown in that process, and you've been there for me the whole time. And I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you and all that you've done for me and my family during this process.
That means a lot, and you're an awesome guy, and just keep fighting. Just keep fighting, and I will always stand shoulder to shoulder with you because you are an amazing human being with a great heart. And again, you prevailed over all this shit. And so did Tim. And that's why I cry good tears. I for the first time, in 6 years, because Tim and I have had hits and blows and we've had losses, we can sleep well, we can cry happy tears. And we do this for the community. We really don't do this for ourselves. I'm not even a resident of your state. And I come to Maryland and I help because I want to do it, because I love what I do. And I love you guys. And I've never gotten so emotional with my candidates in so long. I mean, I'm so emotional when it comes to you guys. And I always say to Tim, let me be the crier. Let me be the warrior. I need you to be the strength. But it's very emotional. The whole process has been emotional. And, again, just watching the journey. But Daniel, you have a huge political career if you want to continue and pursue it ahead of you.
See, look, I'm going to fight for the people. And I think Stalin and his little crew didn't expect me to keep fighting back.
No, they didn't.
They kept coming with low blows and they cheat and they lie.
Yeah.
Senator Sound, you are a liar, and I'll see you in August on the 28th.
Well, I'll see you in August. I'll see you in August. But I do want to say for the record that the state Senate race in Baltimore County was the most talked about. Everybody talked about it.
Yeah, across the state, one of the 7 the news stations from Hagerstown and even
people from Hagerstown were talking about the state Senate race because they never had someone like Daniel before. They never had someone that actually challenged Johnny Salling. Oh my God, you challenged him. And because you challenged him, you called him out. I can tell you for the record, on election day, Rick Metzger didn't even get out of his van. He was hiding in his van. His wife was in the passenger seat. He was literally hiding the whole entire day. Because I found out he was hiding because he was afraid to answer to the people for his horrible record of voting for Planned Parenthood. He voted for state-funded abortions. He voted to extend Obamacare. He voted for Kerwin. He voted for the second largest tax hike in Maryland history. He voted for a lot of things that a Democrat would vote for.
They're Democrats in disguise.
I'm sorry, say again?
They are Democrats.
Yeah. And I also want to say for the record before we go, our friend Henry Ziskowski, he did run for state delegate to try to oust Rick Metzger. He only lost by 400 votes. That's how close he was against Rick Metzger. That's how close. He only lost by 400 votes. That shows you that the people are fed up with these RINO establishment incumbents. They're fed up with RINOs that are really Democrats. And again, Daniel, I totally see you in the state Senate or even a delegate in 4 years. Same thing with Henry Ziskowski. Both of you guys, I want you, Tim, and all of us, I want you two to work together and rebuild, like what Seth said, rebuild the Republican Party. As Tim said it, make it your Republican Party. That is your job right now, to make it your Republican Party. Thank you guys so much. This has been a wonderful night. Thank you guys. Sorry we had tech issues in the beginning. I'm sorry you couldn't see my face half the night. We'll get that fixed. I will be on the Pulse again once a month in July once I get my camera fixed. Usually I'm on every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. unless I'm doing political stuff. Please come see me next weekend. I will be at the Dundalk Parade. Maybe I'll wear my American flag dress. Or maybe I'll wear my, I don't know. Should I wear my Israeli flag dress, Seth? I don't think
American flag dress.
Yep. It's going to be hot as hell. It's going to be hot as hell.
I know. But yeah, so I'll be wearing that dress. I'm sorry.
Red, white, and
blue. No, I agree. So I'll be wearing that dress. So guys, you have to come out and see us. So please, guys, thank you for watching. Please follow us again. We're on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Substack, TikTok, Parler. We're on all the main social media networks. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiots.
Thank you.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, Elena, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Alexandra, thanks you for watching tonight's Alexandra Levine Live podcast. See you at the next packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified for upcoming episodes. If you like what the Alexandra talked about, then share the Alexandra Levine Live podcast with others. Alexandra also looks forward to seeing you